Hey fam, we're back with another episode, and of course, as always, I feel like the birds are just like my, I don't want to say background noise, but they're like my intro music. Every single time I go to record, the birds just start going nuts, and I'm like, this is your sign to get comfy and cozy, maybe get a yummy drink, and just, we're gonna hang out, because I have a lot of topics to talk about, and I'm interested as to when all of these are going to make their way out into the realms, but I just want us to all take a collective deep breath and just settle in. I just recorded a video and it was just all over the place, and I'm like, it's so interesting when that happens. Like, it's for a reason. I know that whoever watches that needed that, even if that's not typically the energy that I'm in, but also I have a little touch of ADHD, don't we all? So anyways, with all that being said, this particular episode is going to be all about transition, because this has been a topic that's been, I don't want to say heavy on my heart recently, but it's a topic that I feel called to talk about because, and you've probably watched, if you've watched any of my previous videos or if you watch me on social media, like, you know that I've been through many transitions in my life, and that is kind of like my forte, if you will. I hate using the word niche. If there's one thing you should know about me, I like saying forte, it just sounds better. And so, with all that being said, I've been through a lot of transitions in my life. I have transitioned with autoimmune, not just one, but 3. I've been married, I've been divorced, I've gone to college twice. I have transitioned out of singlehood to being married, to being divorced, to moving cross country, and to selling all my things and becoming a nomad, and then selling all my things again, including my car, traveling the world and doing all the things. I've made a lot of big transitions in my life, and I look back and I'm like, those were big, and yeah, they seemed big, but I look back and like, they all happened so smoothly and so quickly. And I think it just goes to show that when you're in alignment with your soul, I just saw 222, is that the transition will be easy. And I'm saying this from me to me, but I'm also saying this to whoever ends up watching this video. And I've seen 234 so many times today, which just means forward fucking movement. I say all of this because in those times where I was needing to transition, I was scared shitless if it was all gonna work out, what hiccups were gonna come up, what if I was gonna have the amount of money that I needed, was I gonna be able to get all the things, was I gonna have to do it alone, was I gonna be supported, things like that, right? Those are all common things that we, I don't know, get caught up in when we're transitioning, right? From a place of comfort to someplace new. And a lot of us, I feel like, get caught up in all the logistics when really, if we're following our heart and it's in alignment, it will all work out, and probably better than we would have expected. And it's probably not going to make any sense, and that's okay. I know for me, especially making the transition to be from married to divorce to all that came with that, right? That was one of the biggest life transitions. They actually say that getting divorced is the second biggest life transition other than losing a child. How fucking wild is that? I had an abortion and got divorced all in the same year. Or all within like a year, basically, of each other. That's wild. I still say these things. I'm like, I know they happened, and like, I experienced that, but like, it's wild when you put it into terms like that. And so with all these transitions, I've learned so many things that I hope to pass along. And I hope that if you have questions that you ask, and I hope that if you have a nudge that is so strong on your heart, I hope that you follow it. I don't even want to hope. I just know that you'll follow it at some point, because that nudge will get louder and louder and louder until you follow it. And I know that from experience, because my divorce, I put it off for 2 years. Really, I put it off for 5. There's just a little bird that fell off the fence as I said that. So interesting what's happening out here today. Anywho, I put that off for so long, getting divorced. And then once I finally did it, I was like, wow, okay. It was like the best. I look back and I'm like, that was the best decision I could have ever made for my life. Like, some people used to say I'm sorry, and I'm like, please don't. And the people who would say congratulations were my favorite people, because it is a feat to get a divorce. It is a... My divorce, thankfully, was it was amicable and easy compared to what I see other people go through. And that's how I know that everything was in alignment and that this transition was truly meant for me, because we signed paperwork. It's so funny. Every time I start these videos, I never know which direction they're going to go, but I know that there's a purpose to all of it. So we signed papers 2 days before Christmas of 2020. Or not 2020. The fuck? 2 days before Christmas of 2021. That extra number makes a difference. We signed papers 2 days before Christmas of 2021. And they told us it would be a minimum of 3 weeks before we even heard from a judge, because there was 2 holidays in between there, and the courts obviously aren't open on the holidays. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I was thinking, God, who knows? It could take up to 6 weeks for this to clear, right? And I'm like trying to transition from, I am going to be leaving a full house and moving to my own apartment, but I was also not only moving from a house to an apartment, I am also moving my entire life across country for the first time in my entire life. And I was worried about getting the apartment. I was worried about how I was going to get out there, and I was going to have to do it alone. And am I going to have the resources and all the things? Did you know every single thing was provided for? I put in for my apartment, got the apartment. The exact apartment that I wanted, nonetheless. I had a view of the Rocky Mountain Front Range, and it was just chef's kiss. That all happened. And then I was provided the resources and the funds to then move. My dad helped me pack up my entire car, top to bottom. I drove out my car, no trailer, no nothing, literally just packed all my shit in a car and fucking drove cross country. I stayed in the house with my ex-husband at the time till the night before I was getting ready to leave Connecticut. Then I went to stay at my parents for a night, and then I peaced out. And it's wild to look back at that transition, and I also quit my job in the midst of all of that. I had a nursing job that I also left. And it's wild to me to look back on that time and how scared I was about everything and how everything worked out. And I was so fucking stoked when I walked into that apartment, which I had already been to like a month and a half previous to that, because a week after we signed papers, I went out to get the apartment all set up. And even then I was like, how the fuck am I gonna do all this? Like, I was paying to get a divorce on top of all of this, and I'm just like, how the fuck? The universe always comes through. The resources will always be provided for you. And I say all of this because I know I am about to go through probably another transition period. This all came about today, so whenever this video makes it out, this will be interesting. I'm not dead set on this. I am not attached to it, but it is looming around me that I am going to be transitioning again. And it doesn't mean it has to happen right now. It doesn't mean I have to be ungrounded when it happens. And I know for a damn fact that if that is the move that I am meant to make, everything will work out exactly as it's meant to. And I don't need to worry about a thing. If I've learned anything along this journey, it's that every single time I've had to transition, whether it was out of my car and into a house or whatever, everything has always been provided for, even if I didn't see it at the time. And when you are following your heart and you are in alignment, the universe has it cannot drop you. It will not drop you. But you have to know that from within. And transitions can be scary because you're leaving an old identity and like so much behind. I know for me, it makes me a little emotional thinking about like this next transition. I thought I was going to be staying here in SoCal, that might not be the case. After a conversation with a friend earlier today, and I have this weird sense of peace about it because, yeah, I'm obviously loving the weather here in SoCal. It's been 70 fucking degrees here every day. But I also know that this other place that felt like home the moment that I arrived, in a weird, strange way that I can't fully portray into words. This is a place I visited. It's one of the only places I visited that still sticks out in my brain as like I'm gonna have a house here one day, and I've said that the last time I was there. And I was like, maybe I'll end up here back next summer or whatever the case is. And I've been thinking about it on and off for the last week, and then it came up in a conversation with a friend this morning, and I know there's a reason why it came up. There's always a reason. There's always little breadcrumbs all around us. And this transition doesn't feel like, it's funny because I say all of this, and I obviously, like, you guys, if you've been watching or have been following me, you probably know, like, I was in Connecticut in 2024 after traveling, and then got a job in Colorado, wanted to move back to Colorado, made the move back to Colorado, and that whole transition, like, I had a car, I had all of the things. I was provided for, even if it didn't make sense at the moment, right? Like, the resources somehow showed up, like, literally the day I was leaving. And if I let fear get in the way of those transitions, I would still be stuck in the same position, and I wouldn't have grown and evolved. But that's not what my soul came here to do. In fact, I grow and evolve on a probably much quicker rate than most people do. That's because I meant to guide others through it, right? And that's probably why you're here watching this, is there's some part of this video that you probably need. And I just want you to know that it's totally valid to feel all the feelings as you are transitioning. Like, there are multiple layers to transition. There are multiple things that will come up. There are multiple identities that you will have to face. There are going to be things where you're like, wow, I thought I was done with that, and it comes up again. And it's not like going to be like this forever. But just know that if certain things come up and you're like, whoa, interesting. Okay, cool. See it, love it, release it, move on from it. I say all that because this next transition feels a little bit more permanent in a way. I don't want to say permanent. Nothing is ever permanent. So silly when I say those words. I'm like, no, that's not true. Feels more grounded, I guess, is what I'm going to say. But my whole point is, a couple weeks ago, let's just circle back to Colorado, that same job that I had called me, and they asked if I would come back. And I was like, God, that feels like a lot to have to transition to that. Like, ooh, do I really want to do that? Like, that seems like a lot. I don't have a car at the very moment, so like moving back to Colorado without a car seems like a lot. But I also know that I would be provided for if that was in alignment. But that was like a little, I don't want to say dangling carrot, but it was just a little breadcrumb along the trail. And so this other place seemingly has everything that I want out of a place to live. It's so interesting to say, because I don't know, the transition just feels like it'll be easy whenever it's meant to happen. And I think really it's just staying open to whatever that transition is, whether it's out of a career and into something new, or out of a relationship and into singlehood, or whatever the case is. Transitions can be scary, but they are 1000% worth it at the end of the day. If I have anything to say about it, like, I am the queen of detachment and the queen of transition, if I have learned anything on this journey. And I know that I haven't gone through everything I've gone through just for nothing. It all has been for a reason. And I've learned a lot from it. And so I want you to know that you're not alone in whatever you're going through, and that no matter what it is, you're never too old to start over. I said that in my last video, but truly, you're never too old to transition. You're never too old to start over. And if your soul is calling you for something, follow that, because that transition, there might be something for you there There might be a person for you there, something for you there. It might be an activation of a gift. Like, you just never know what a place holds for you until you get there. And then you experience all the magic that that place has for you. And yeah, it's okay to feel fear, but don't let fear stand in your way. And as my friend's tattoo says, fear is courage. What does it say? Fear is really courage being known. I think that's how it goes. And it's wild to think about that. But I hope this inspires you to live your best life and do not let fear get in the way, because fear is very much an earth-based thing, and it's very much a mind logical thing that our heart actually doesn't. Like, our heart wants all the things that we desire. Fear's the thing that gets in the way. And so if you can shift your mindset and know that everything is always working out for you no matter what, and that if something is heavy on your heart or you're being nudged towards something, to follow that and just don't give up no matter what. And know that all the things that come along with it are meant for you, no matter what it is. And if you're not meant to transition, you won't transition. To circle back to my whole divorce thing, because I realized I got sidetracked. They told us minimum 3 weeks that our paperwork was going to take to get finalized. Oh, it was like 2.5 weeks, and they emailed us and said that our divorce was finalized. And my whole point with that is that is how I knew that transition was in alignment for me, because it happened quicker than I logically comprehended. It's quicker than anybody told us it was going to be, and it was easy. If it is meant for you, it will be easy. It is not meant to be hard. You're not supposed to force it. If it's for you, you won't have to chase it. It will literally just kind of, like an airplane, just glide down onto the runway and show up at the airport. You don't have to force it. It gets to be easy. We're the ones that make it hard because we get in our own fucking ways. So, now that we've come full circle with that message, I hope this inspires you to make a change. If you have been sitting on the edge of one, I hope that you follow that nudge, and to trust that nudge and to trust yourself, because it's all happening for a reason. And I'm so excited for you. From me to you. All right, fam. I think that's all for this one. I love you so much. Keep going, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you.